Welcome, everyone, to the second episode of the Before the Tone Trout podcast. I'm your host, Ben Moorhead. With me, my co-host, Devin Shipper, Phil Marchand. This is episode 2. That's probably one episode further than I thought we'd make it, or anyone else thought we'd make it. We got episode 1 done. What do you guys think? What did you guys think on episode 1?
I thought for us, for first-time podcasters, I thought it went pretty good.
Yeah.
As you can see, right, people are watching right now and seeing a whole new setup. And we learned a lot.
Yeah, we learned
a ton of stuff. So we came back, we made some improvements. I think we're already seeing some things that we can do the next time. So we're just going to build on it.
Yeah, it's going to get better and better.
It was fun. I thought it went good, but
a lot of improv in that first episode. This next one a little more prepared, a little more scripted.
Yeah.
So if you stuck with us through episode 1, maybe didn't like it, there's a second chance here in episode 2.
Yeah.
We got a fun episode today. I think everyone's going to like it. We got the mustache competition. It's Movember. We're going to talk some men's health, talk a little Thanksgiving safety, a couple other good skits and segments for everyone today. So with that, something we talked about in episode 1, guys, is the kitchen table experience, which is kind of what we're hoping to create here. Let's talk a little bit like what the kitchen table is in a firehouse and in the fire service. Devin, you got anything on that?
It's a foundation.
Yeah.
I apologize for my voice.
Yeah.
I lost it.
Yeah, this is your Michael Jordan flu game today.
Yeah,
you got one job. Speak on a podcast. Your voice is kind of going. So
yeah, it's out. But kitchen table's a foundation of the fire service, basically.
Yeah.
Especially for us, like down at Threes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's where you do all your learning. You're laughing.
Yeah.
You're bonding. You
Solve
learn
the world's
stuff about
problems.
guys you wouldn't normally learn about.
Yeah, you tell stories.
Yeah.
Like you said, you solve the world's problems. You hear these great stories, these funny stories. I'm a young guy in the job. I haven't been around that long, and the foundation of this podcast is not about me, trying to talk or tell. Like, no one wants to hear my stories. I have like 2 of them, but it's the best thing about being a young guy in the job is to sit back and hear these guys with a long time on and some rank and some experiences sit back and talk. I don't know what it was for you guys, especially when you're on probation or flow, and you just sit back and hear these we look up to these guys. These are our heroes. These are our mentors. And you look back and hear them tell stories about fires and stuff where, oh yeah, that was when, like we just got 1 SCBA per rig, or that was when they finally got rid of the closed cap rigs. And you're like, well, geez, that's the stuff that's fun to listen to at the kitchen table.
Yeah.
I just worked overtime on first shift station 1 the other day. I'm familiar with that crew. But the same experience. We're sitting there eating supper. I bought pizza for everyone because I was on overtime, and you're just telling stories. You guys telling stories that relate to the job, have nothing to do with the job. Funny stuff like that. It's the best. That's what it's all about. That's what this is kind of for. So speaking of that shift and that crew, Phil, do you have some?
Well, I was going to say too with the tables and stuff, because I know we're talking about we're talking about all the happy times that happen at the table.
Yeah.
The learning, the mentoring, all that stuff. What I find is what also becomes that table, and Shipper's right. It's that foundation. You look at if you go online and just Google search firehouse kitchen tables, you're going to pull up some really, really awesome tables and stuff. And even in Sioux City, we got some awesome tables. The guys that made them down at Threes, and that guys invested time and effort and energy in making a table for their firehouse. It's a fantastic thing. So you got so much that investment, that pride and stuff. But what happens with that table? I find that it's also that place of comfort,
yes,
and security, right? So our job is the unknown and the unknowable.
Yep.
Okay. So we go out and we have that bad call at 3:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
We run that awful code or that overdose that we're starting to see a lot more of. That bad fire, that whatever. And what happens when you come back? From that bad call. What's a lot of times what do you do? Those really bad ones where you're just like, you get a cup of coffee, you get something to drink, and you sit down and you start to talk about that, right? And that's and everybody comes together at that table.
Yeah.
So it's that comfort that's a constant. Our job is variable, and you don't know what's going to happen. But that table's always there, and it's solid. It becomes a rock. So that's what I really like about it.
And that's what it's all about. Yeah. So like I was saying, I worked a little overtime the other day on first shift, station 1. I don't know if you can work with that crew much.
They're good. They're good. They're good group of guys.
I mean this as a compliment. It is adult daycare. It's I'll expose their secret because people hate, they have a fun crew, a good crew.
Yeah.
You don't tell anyone we have fun down here. That's what you'll hear from guys. They don't tell anyone we have fun down here because they don't want to blow that up. They don't want to get that exposed. They want to keep that as a good little secret. This is my favorite story from between the last episode and this one. So down there they got Drew Walters. Drew's a new paramedic. Yeah, exactly. Drew Walters, good guy. He fits in great down there. Has a lot of fun. He's a younger guy, kind of like myself. Well, there's one thing that a young guy can do. I know this all too well, and that is open their mouth. It gets them in trouble. So I guess apparently I somehow got into sort of a competition of who was more athletic and who could do what. I think they were watching a football game, and yeah, we got Drew on the screen there.
Wow.
His nickname is Kenny.
He's out of high school.
And they call him Kenny from the movie We're the Millers.
I actually had Drew in class out at WIT when he was in high school. Oh. So he was taking it. He was taking it for fire class and stuff out there. That was cool.
Yeah. So there's the We're the Millers picture. So that's why they call him Kenny. He fits in great. He's like the little brother down there. But so it started with him and Joel, and they wrestled, and Joel won. For two reasons. One, Joel is a wrestling coach, and then also Joel outweighs weighs him just a little bit.
Oh.
No, I mean that well. Like I said, they're a fun crew. Yeah. Long story short, they're watching some football game. Kicker misses like a 30-yard field goal, and Drew, Kenny, or whatever, he makes a comment about how he could make a 30-yard field goal. Someone said, "Prove it," and they ended up going out to the West High School football field, where I believe he actually made a 30-yard field goal.
30-yarder.
But then there was two other competitions that Drew was supposed to do. One was actually kick a field goal, or not, just kick a football from the 35-yard line to the opposing 20, and apparently it went 7 yards. So 0 for 1, and then the second one, this is my favorite, him and Joel, to prove who was more athletic, we're going to race in a 100-meter dash. We actually have that video. We have that footage for you guys. So this is at West High School. Keep in mind.
Yeah, like birds, laid back, like sprinting method, like it has to go fast.
If it was a 40-meter dash, Joel would have had him.
He's like, what do they always say, like a grizzly bear, or an alligator, or something. Like if you can make it 10 or 15 feet, you can get away. But it's that first little bit, like they'll catch anybody.
Yeah. So I put this up here. Here's another angle of it. They had engine 1, truck 1
he ran
all out there.
backwards.
Went down there. So I bring this up because we talk about the kitchen table. This is the good, clean fun that comes from work. That comes from the kitchen table, our special place, where when we're sitting there between work, between the calls, between the work, stuff like this comes up. And this is where the family aspect comes from. This is where the bonding comes from. This is how you build morale in the crew. And this is what I think is one of the best parts of the job.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to give a shout out to First Shift, Station 1. Keep up the good work. Keep up making the job great. Keep having fun down there. We need more of that. So
that's a I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Chip.
That's a good mental break from the day too.
Yes.
Breaks up like the serious calls.
Yeah.
And you need a little relief.
And then the monotonous stuff. Like, hey, it's Monday. We're gonna go check mass. We're gonna do scrub out. We're gonna. You got chores done. Blah blah blah. When you get in some long stretches where it's like, well, what did we do on Friday? Well, we had tech training. What did we do this day? Well, we had a fire. And then, well, what did we do this day? Well, we've been teaching. Right now they have the 40-hour work week for some of the new floaters. Right. So it's so busy right now. To blow off some of that steam almost of it. There's nothing better than when you have that day. It's like, what are we doing today? Well, we're going to sit around here as a crew, drink coffee, and laugh until 10:30, and then we're going to get our work done. And we work hard, play hard. It's a balance, but you need that break. You need stuff like this, or else they get too tense. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about. Yep. So, like I said, adult daycare is a good one, but it's fun. But that's what it's all about. So. Yep. Moving forward, a little more serious. It is November, which means Thanksgiving's around the corner. Ironically, I heard a story last night working with that same crew about a couple years ago. They fried a turkey, and I guess it did not go well.
No.
So this is another example. Phil, I'll kind of let you take over here.
Yeah. Let's play short. Play the turkey fryer short video here. We got a short video you can see, and we're going to talk about Thanksgiving fire safety. You can see right there, what we're going to touch on. So whether you know it or not, nationwide is a nationwide average. Thanksgiving is the busiest day for residential structure fires. The number one day. So it's, and of that, you're talking like 20 nationwide on average, about 2,300 fires, residential structure fires that day alone, which is a lot. And 75% of those are cooking fires.
Yes.
So fires in the kitchen.
Makes
So
sense.
yeah, makes sense, right? Well, how many people are cooking? How many people are cooking that don't usually cook?
Yeah.
And you're cooking all day. Most of those fires again occur between like 2 and 6 p.m. So when everybody's putting stuff on. But yeah, the Thanksgiving, the turkey fryer there and stuff, and that was, I think, more popular a few years ago. Now smokers and pit bosses, things are a little bit more, smoking them stuff. But you can see in that instance what happens. That cooking oil is 350 degrees, right? Well, how hot is 350? Pretty hot, because you think about what's water boil like 212.
Yeah.
You spill boiling water on your hand, how bad is that hurt?
Yeah.
Okay, now 350 degree boiling oil. Okay, and then you take your turkey. So a couple things. If your turkey, it needs to thaw. It needs to be completely thawed if you're doing it. It's something where I think it's like 20 minutes per pound or something. So, I mean, in the fridge, you're talking like 24 to 48 hours, depending on how big a bird you have, to completely thaw that out. Because what happens is those ice crystals, water boils at 212. You have oil at 350 degrees. You put water, put that ice in there. It instantly boils that ice. Now you got boiling water essentially splashing that oil in every place, and then once that oil hits that ignition point, and then you have fire everywhere and stuff. So and then you can see if we play the long video, because that goes into what happens when you put water on said fire. So now if you're at home, right, my deck's on fire, I got fire everywhere, I'm going to grab the garden hose, I'm going to start trying to put my fire out, because your brain says fire bad, water puts fire out. Well, that's not with an oil fire. That's not what you're going to want to do, because what you actually do is that, oil and water don't mix, right? So you end up pushing that hot oil, pushing that fire around, and you're actually make it worse. Now, for us, do we have to use water to put fire out? We're going to, but the amount of water we're using it's copious amounts. We have larger hand lines, we have all this stuff, but for you to at home to try and do that, it's not to be the thing. So a couple things, let's touch on real quick. For your, at the home, for safety tips, biggest thing, stay in the kitchen when you're cooking, okay, and attend to those things, and not leaving stuff unattended on the stove. When you're cooking your turkey, stay at home, check it out frequently. If you're using the turkey fry, which we don't recommend you use, but it does make it tasty for turkey. People like to do that. Make sure your turkey's completely thawed out. You don't overfill your vat, your pot that you're putting the turkey in, not too much oil. So check your oil level. Keep it far away from the house is another thing too. So in case you do have a flare up, that you're not going to catch your house on fire, right? Keep the kids away from the stuff. Just really, we want everybody safe. There's a ton of information. FPA.org has a lot of stuff. U.S. Fire Administration has a lot of things. We'll post the links in the description on the YouTube video, and they'll be also, I believe, on the Spotify description of stuff, so things. But on an interesting note, for Sioux City, if we want to look at stats specifically for Sioux City, I don't have Thanksgiving Day specifically. However, when you look at our building fires, so 21-22, we're averaging about 75 structure building fires. Where I would consider a residential structure fire per year, and of those, you're looking at about what do we got, like 44, so like 22 per year are exactly a cooking fire, a kitchen fire. Okay, so 22 per year, and of those, we're looking at 11 directly from a heat source, so like a stove getting into combustibles and stuff that are on the stove. So that's just in Sioux City, like I said, you're looking at nationwide. So these things happen here, which is why we have jobs. But the other thing with that too, if anybody has any questions about any of the stuff, is my home safe? Do I have things in my kitchen that pose a risk? All this stuff. Contact our Community Risk Reduction office. Right. Set up a safe home inspection. That's a huge program we have. It's a free program. Make sure you have working smoke alarms. Again, we have that program available. So we'll come in and put smoke alarms in your home. We'll look for fire hazards in your home and help you make your home safe, so that you can have a tasty turkey and a safe Thanksgiving, because that's what it's all about. Right?
Awesome. Brought to you by Bill Phil the Science
Guy.
Guy.
So if if you're cooking, if you're fried turkey, you know what you're doing. Make sure it's thawed out.
Yes.
We'll keep it moving. We're in November, and everyone has a mustache. Whether you think I don't have a mustache, I do have a mustache right now.
I saw it.
Yeah. This is pathetic. I did this just for this episode. I did it for you guys.
It's good.
And how long is
This
that?
is like 3 weeks. I was on vacation for a bit, so I kind of grew everything. I left the mustache.
That's solid.
Are there any wives or girlfriends that like the mustaches?
No, there can't be.
There can't be. Yeah. Which kind of blows my mind, because like, you guys can actually grow a decent mustache. To me, I think if you can grow a decent mustache, maybe embrace it. But like for guys like me that can't grow it, like it's completely understandable.
I like it because my wife, when I shave it, I
Yeah.
look like a new guy. So
Yeah.
she's like, "Hey, what's
She's
going
like,
on?"
"What's
You
going
know?
on?"
I think
That's
I look
nice.
like 10 years younger when I shave this.
I know it. What blows my mind is if someone like me who can't grow a mustache was like, I thought this made me look better. What are you doing? What are you doing, bro? So this is only for November, and it's pretty disgusting. You can't even see it in the camera. It's probably it's really bad. I have puberty.
High def camera, and you
I have
can't
puberty
even
like
Yeah.
3 months ago. So with that, Devin, you did a little research on Movember. Actually, I didn't know much about this story. It kind of started as a couple guys being dudes.
Guys being dudes.
So let's hear about what you got for Movember.
Sounds
Where
like
did all this start?
Sounds like it could happen at a safety meeting.
Yeah.
We'll maybe get into those
Yeah.
later on, but
Real quick, what's a safety meeting at work?
it's a gathering of fellow firefighters. Could be from your crew, could
Yeah.
be from the whole shift,
Yes.
the whole department, getting together. Safety topics,
Yeah.
mainly held at Miles or something like
Correct.
that. Just
Yeah.
really
Shout out to Miles
throwing
and
it out. Yeah, shout out. We'll shout that out.
the sponsor.
Yeah.
We're working on sponsors.
No, Movember. We all grow mustaches.
Yes. Why do we do it?
Usually for men's health.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raise awareness at least, but we like to raise money for, different stuff for men's health.
Yeah,
But
we're always doing stuff like that.
the main origin comes from Melbourne, Australia.
Okay.
Couple mates in the pub, slinging some pints back, going, "Yo, we need to bring the mustache back."
Yeah.
And this is right off their website.
Not enough guys are wearing mustaches.
Yeah, that's what they decided that day.
Yeah. Yep.
2003 this starts,
Yeah.
right? They're just like, we're going to grow a mustache, see who we can get to do it. 30
Absolutely.
guys get on board,
Yes.
right? And this all stems from one of their buddies' moms having breast cancer. They're like, well, let's raise awareness for that. And
Yeah.
let's raise awareness for men's health.
How do we do it?
So 30 guys don't raise any money. They just try to get some guys to do it.
Yeah.
And then next year, they decide to actually formalize it
Mm-hmm.
and get some money rounded up. So it's $10 for the month you grow your mustache out.
Yeah.
Then they register it as an actual website
Mm-hmm.
and a membership.
Oh wow, yeah.
All of a sudden, they're partnering with the Prostate Cancer Foundation of Australia, right?
That's awesome.
So just in 2 years, they grow and they raise over 54,000 Australian dollars, right?
So that's 2005.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2 years. So there's no reason. And they had like 10,000 members here. This is
Yeah.
all from their website,
Yeah.
the U.S. chapter of Movember.
Yeah.
And this thing's reached worldwide now, but just under 10,000 guys. And that's basically saying like it's our second episode.
Yeah.
We could probably have 10,000 members,
Yeah.
subscribe,
10,000 subscribers.
subscribe.
Yeah.
Listen,
Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
No, but-
Google, anywhere podcasts available.
anywhere you can get podcasts. No, but within 3 years, they're already over millions of dollars just through Prostate Cancer Foundation.
Yeah.
And it's reached worldwide.
Absolutely.
U.S. Cancer
Yeah.
Foundation partners with them. So
That's
It's
pretty
just
awesome.
incredible.
Like
Just in a
dudes
couple
just having a,
years.
I
just
did not know
like
that
you said, like
this story.
just having a
It's
discussion.
amazing.
It's like,
Yeah.
hey, we should do this,
Yeah.
and now look where they're at.
So stemming from this research,
Mhm.
which I didn't know before this, I'm gonna sign up next year for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
love
know
it.
what I mean?
We all
Why
should.
not?
Oh yeah,
It'd be a good thing for the podcast.
So yeah, that's just quick little brief
And
history.
so I always thought it was just kind of a fire department thing in general. I guess I
Right.
didn't really know much about it. The fire departments all across the nation, across the world, they're growing their mustaches right now,
Yeah,
and I love it.
it's
So,
great.
That's great. We are not doctors. We are the furthest things from doctors.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's accurate.
I'll take a look at whatever you got going on. Not a doctor, for sure. But we do know a doctor. His name's Dr. Wood. He's our medical director. He does a lot of great things for us. We're
Yep.
thrilled to have him. We actually got him here in the building today to answer some real questions about men's health before we try and answer any. So right now, I'd love to bring on Dr. Randal Wood. He's coming down the hallway right
Yeah,
now.
he's coming in.
Round of applause.
Welcome,
That's
Doc.
I just understand that doctor is like he's a crazy busy dude.
Yeah.
He's
So
the
for
busiest
him-
man alive, apparently.
Yeah, so for him to be here,
Most
we are
interesting as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
super fortunate for him to be here. It's pretty awesome. Hey,
Doctor, welcome.
Not to pick on you, but you need to slide your blocking chip on that. Right there.
Oh, there you go. All right. You were saying the thermos right there. You're always locked and loaded.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you call it with the crazy brew?
With some serious
brew. You brew your own coffee?
Yeah, I'm getting my coffee from a local roaster in town. And yeah, I always show up to work with a thermos and a cup of coffee. Right. There's people that come around, hey, can I have a little coffee? Yeah, so
you're ready to rock. Before this, there was a pet exchange going on in the parking lot. They said you are one of the busiest guys alive.
I was finding a home for a kitten.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Do it all. In terms of being busy, you've been in the emergency room for how long?
I finished my emergency medicine residency in 2013, so
okay.
I've been in the emergency department since 2010ish.
Yeah. Cool. So what's made you stay in emergency medicine? A lot of providers, they do their stint, like I'm gonna go move on, go to a clinic, maybe go somewhere where I'm home with my kids a little more sleep regular. So you gotta like what you do. What makes you want to stay in the emergency room?
Well, part of it is I'm I'm a specialist of emergency medicine.
Okay.
The clinic is not an option for me.
Right.
So I'm an emergency medicine guy. So I'm board certified in that. So
gotcha.
I don't really do any clinic work. I could do some urgent care and things like that.
Perfect.
But
what made you want to take that as your specialty?
Initially, I was going to do oncology actually, and then I just liked it. It was just fast paced, always something new.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of get a chance to make a quick connection with people.
Yeah.
I like to get to know my patients, but at the same time, it's kind of nice. Just boom, here we go. Let's do it.
It's crazy work. The ER is the Wild West.
Yeah.
And we work with you guys about hand in hand.
Yep.
Obviously, completely different worlds, but also the same ones. So.
Yep.
Give you credit in there. Where'd you do your undergrad at?
I took a couple of different attempts at undergrad, but I ended up at my third attempt to get my bachelor's degree at the University of South Dakota. I got my degree there.
Okay.
Medical school as well, University of South Dakota, and then did my emergency medicine residency in Nashville, Tennessee.
Was the plan always be a medical professional? Is that kind of always in the works, or how'd you find your way into being?
It was kind of a midlife crisis type deal.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a veterinarian at one point, and then I decided to go travel and kind of cruise around and just kind of spent a lot of time getting to know the world. Lived in Canada for a while, just kind of traveling and whatnot, and then came back and decided to pursue medicine sort of a little later in my 30s, actually. Just kind of like, hey, I'm going to be a doctor. The family
Why not?
What? Yeah,
so might as well just go be a doctor quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody knows you're kind of a free spirit.
I am a little bit of a free spirit.
I love it.
Well, that's what I was just going to wonder, because Nashville, because you play a little guitar, right?
Piano mostly, but guitar.
Yeah, so I was wondering, like, if you got into the music scene a little bit, being down in Nashville, it'd be hard not to.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had a piano when I was in Nashville. Essentially, a really good friend of mine who plays guitar came to pick me up to help move me home, and he's like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Sat down and started playing with him, and I still play with him. He's here in town, but kind of realized that I was so busy during all of that I hadn't really been playing. So here in town, I get a chance to play more, so that's good.
Nice. Yeah. The rumor is every now and then you're at one of the local bars playing in a band or something.
Yep, we've played around here in town. Band Ultraviolet Fever, and we play in town. And we played Saturday. We opened up Saturday in the park a couple years ago and did a fundraiser for homelessness a couple Fridays ago, 2 Fridays ago. Play outside and play here and around. And
really are one of the busiest guys I've ever met.
I stay busy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Devin's got some serious questions here. It's November. We talk about Movember, men's health. So we're far from doctors. The fact that some of us are paramedics is mind blowing. So we wanted to ask you, a medical professional, we can actually
where people can take more stock.
Yeah, some actual information that might be closer to accuracy than us.
Well, I think we should start originally by I appreciate you representing a very poor form of a mustache. I would have been packing, but it was a little late notice. So So yeah, I've always enjoyed the mustache, voting for different people. I try and stay unbiased in my votes. For
So you vote every year in the competition.
Oh, of course.
That's awesome.
It's one of the best things we do, right? It's kind of your inside the department and outside, but yeah,
Yes, we do.
it's huge for the department. It's
Yeah,
a big morale
so,
boost.
yeah.
Everyone gets a
That's a
laugh
thing.
out of it. Brings everyone together. So, Devin, what do you got for the doc?
Well, we already talked about your hobbies, your specialty. Can you talk more about your affiliation with SCFR? Kind of like
Yeah,
what
I
your
took
position is.
about a year into town. I was giving a lecture geared at paramedics for like pulmonary emergencies or something like that. And somebody approached me at that time and said, "We want you as our medical director." I said, "I'm only a year out of residency." I think that was in 2013. I said, "It's just not really good timing." And they persisted. I said, "Well, let's at least talk it through." And then, I took over as the medical director for the fire department and SPI that was in town at that time, as well as the comm center at that time, and I've stayed on ever since then. So
then when the city took over, it was pretty easy to just say, "Yeah, I'll do the Sioux City Fire as well."
yeah, so I was already the medical director for Sioux City Fire, but at that point it was sort of two affiliations. There was kind of what now is the blue side and the red side at that point.
Because I remember because I was on the MS committee when we had that. I was in pursuit of you at that time, trying to get you to be the MS director.
So then, I took that over. So then the fire department was a little bit, at that time I didn't communicate as much with the fire department, but I'd go to like station one. They'd be like, "Do you need anything, sir?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm kind of the medical director."
It's kind of very. I have a little funny story. So this is 2017-18. The EMS division just starts. I'm an EMT. I'm like 15 years old. I just got hired. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Still had a mustache like that.
The mustache just like this. And it's our orientation day. We're at Station 4, and they get everyone that just started on the EMS division there, and we're touring the station. We start in like a month. We have to start a whole ambulance service. And this guy shows up, and he's wearing, some clothes that aren't too exciting, just kind of a little, some ratty clothes, messy hair.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes up to the door, and someone in the department, I won't name drop him, he's kind of high up there in rank, kind of rolls his eyes and goes, "Oh, geez, who's showing up here now?" Because we get visitors at the station. Sometimes they want some stuff. Sometimes they want it to, who knows. And they're like, and they said, this person said, goes, "I'll get rid of him. I'll get rid of him." And come to find out, they're like, oh, that's Dr. Wood. That's the medical director for this new ambulance we're starting. And
you guys totally thought I was a random homeless guy. Which is just fine for me. If I'm traveling anywhere out of Sioux City, the chances of people picking me and my family up being like, "Oh, there's the doctor," is very low.
Yeah.
We're
We
pretty
go to a conference like, "Oh yeah, that's
low key.
That's the doctor."
We're pretty low key.
I love it. That's awesome. So
Moving on. So sudden cardiac arrest is the number one reason firefighters die on the job, and it's the leading cause of death. Is men's heart disease. What screenings can men receive, and that can kind of give them an idea of what their heart health is like?
So yeah, I'm an emergency medicine guy, so I'm kind of the one you want to avoid. So I'm like when you failed failure of that. So I guess the main advice for me is a couple things. One is getting a good primary doc that you trust, trying to just get in there to do all the screenings. I don't even know when you're supposed to begin cholesterol, making sure you're getting your cholesterol checked, your blood pressure checked, and then just listening to your body a little bit. If you're feeling more short of breath when you're doing something that usually you're okay with, if you notice, a little bit of even like, oh, I get a little indigestion with walking, just things like that could end up sort of your body can be communicating, saying your heart might be having some issues. I guess just making sure you're getting yourself screened for your cholesterol. And then I think a lot of people focus a lot, especially you guys, on like lifting and doing a lot of that stuff, but maybe not as much of the sort of aerobic type stuff. So making sure within your regimen that you're kind of doing that stuff. It's kind of funny to be in a room full of people who are in better shape than you, talking about how to stay in shape. But nonetheless, making sure that you're keeping your cholesterol and some of that stuff, and just sort of reaching out a little better than sometimes we do in terms of like something being off. Because usually there's going to be a warning sign by the time you get a little bit older. I mean, it's usually not going to be some thing you were born with that's going to do it. It's going to be.
That kind of rolls into my next question. In your experience, are men kind of way more inverted about their, or,
Yeah.
less tendency to speak out about their health?
Yeah. I would say the vast majority of men who come in the ER are accompanied by a wife or somebody who's kind of like dragging them into there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say 100%, and especially too, even just to kind of categorize like a farmer. There's jokes in emergency medicine, like if a farmer shows up, like you better be ready to do everything to get him there. I would say firefighters kind of tend to fall into that more category of just being stubborn as hell. And so you kind of get into that thing where maybe you're not going to reach out, you're not going to open up about health issues as much as other people. So yeah, I would say yes, in general, men are probably a little not as good at talking to each other and their doctor about whatever's going on with them.
Well, that, and then just you think of some of the stuff you're concerned about, whether it's testicular cancer, prostate cancer. Probably two things as a guy, you don't want to sit there and go, yep, I gotta go and get my prostate checked.
Yeah, sure.
That's something that's not something you I want to look forward to doing. That's not something. It's probably a humbling process in a way.
Yeah.
And but one that could be very serious and life saving.
Agreed.
Well, and maybe even more so for us as firefighters, because we have if you have this mentality of you're a firefighter, you're made of iron, you're Superman, nothing can hurt you.
Yeah.
I think it's good. Doc touched on getting a regular doctor, getting physicals, things like that. Our department believes in that too. Where we're getting our physicals every other year now and stuff to in blood work and everything. So it's
right.
It's an important thing.
A lot farther ahead than when we used to be.
Yeah, when I started. Yeah, even when I started.
And as a group, I would say we're not as good as advocating. Like, if there's lots of breast cancer awareness, tons of money, just because the women are just better, not only at discussing their stuff, but also publicizing it and getting out there and sort of being aware. You don't hear a ton about it, which is what's cool to see. Firefighters doing something for men's health, and it's a group of like, manly men or whatever that are out there doing stuff to sort of.
Yeah, we're a heavy majority. We have a lot more females now than maybe a long time ago. They support us, we support them. But yeah, give a shout out to the females of Sioux City Fire Rescue. Yeah, but yeah, I do. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, just in terms of men, like there's not a huge amount of walks and different things about, or even research at this point but.
That we kind of talked about it earlier when you were talking about the lifting and stuff. There's like 1 million supplements out there now that are on TV, social media. What would advice be to guys that are like looking at some of that stuff before they do it, like to do it?
Yeah, I guess in my world, I feel like probably trying to focus on basically eating. If you want to be like high protein, then you can be eating tons of eggs and just different things, or sort of the meat and different things to get your protein, as opposed to trying to supplement with a ton of other things, and essentially all of the weight things that are out there to help you lose weight. I don't really feel like are a great idea.
What's your opinion on? I don't know if Ship you had for a question. But what's your opinion on energy drinks and stuff? Because that's a big thing. And just in general, I think our population in general, there's so many of them out there. I think even in the fire culture, to give you a bump and keep you going. But what's your opinion on some of the energy drinks?
I like I'm a big coffee drinker, as I already mentioned. I think just some of the stuff that's been around and tried and true is a little better than something that was developed in some, like taurine and some of these other supplements that are actually pretty potent and likely just not really researched. So I do see people come in with panic attacks, with like arrhythmias, like mostly SVT, which is fairly easy to deal with, but nonetheless people get kicked into AFib and things like this due to like weird energy supplements. And now they've got these other things that they're doing where they're just taking a couple molecules off of this, and then you're like, it's
like
still
amphetamine, just a couple away from
THC as well, which is probably less of an issue here. But I'm just saying, like, some of the stuff they just change it a little bit, so all of a sudden it's legal, and then the next thing you know, it's like, well, I got it at the grocery store, but still can. So I mean,
Yeah, it's got an FDA approval. Must be good, right?
Yeah, right.
Right.
A lot of this stuff is probably just not very tried and true. So I think in general, moderation is probably the right answer for just about everything.
Yeah.
For a guy who drinks about a pot of coffee a day, I guess I don't really, but at the same time, like some of that stuff, yeah, I mean, if it's a day where you're just kind of really dragging and you feel like you need a little something, a little one of those kind of boosty drinks or whatever, I don't drink them because they give me a headache in the morning and they just tend to make me crash. So,
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm not really a huge fan of them. I mean, now you go to like,
any gas
Casey's
station or
and
anywhere,
it's just
yeah,
like,
just
yeah,
that
clean
whole
your
case
face
of
all the
just
time.
that stuff. You know, where you're talking 300 megs of caffeine per can. I mean, that's that's a lot. Where a cup of coffee is anywhere from 80 to 100. So that's like taking a can and you're chugging that. Well, take 3 cups of coffee and chug it. It's the equivalent essentially, but that's a lot. For
right.
in one shot.
Agreed. Yeah. So a lot of that supplement stuff, I'm probably not a huge fan.
Sure. Yeah. That's pretty much all I had for you. Some general questions, and just wanted to talk to you.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah, I think the other thing that maybe doesn't get recognized as much too is like shift work. I mean, you guys are doing a lot of shift work. I have traditionally worked a lot of nights, and then you're up and you're back and you're forth. And sleep deprivation is pretty huge, and for you guys it is real. Like to try and your circadian rhythms are just like constantly off. It's been associated with worsening heart failure, diabetes, all of that stuff. So try and be respectful in terms of like getting to sleep when you need to get it. And all of that.
I heard an analogy once. This came from Tom Perry, who's out at Station 6, and he said it's not just getting woke up in the middle of the night. It's like they told anyone that's not in our line of work. It's like, imagine if someone called you at 2 a.m. and said, I want you to go to the store, get a carton of milk, and then come, and then put the carton of milk in the fridge, and then you're good, and you're done, right? Now, that's the comparison he used. Now, imagine if you had to do CPR on the carton of milk, or, think of like, do any sort of drug interventions you need to do, or, maybe you have to go and get your heart rate up to 170 because you're at a fire, something along those lines. So
I heard, coming on the job that we exert in the first 15 minutes of a working structure fire, that we exert as much energy as a normal person does in an 8-hour day. Yeah. So, I mean, if you think about that, and all of a sudden you're doing it if you're in a REM cycle,
for sure,
you're woken up from 0 to 100 mile an hour, and then have to exert that much energy at 3 a.m. and what that does to your body, and then to try and recover from that. I mean, and then do that over a 30-year career.
Yeah, I know we've been getting better. We have fatigue policies in place now, and I think of like our EMS division employees that we have 3, some days 4 rigs in town. They run a ton of calls. So when you get on the 48s and the 72s or stuff like that, some of these people get put on. That's where it gets real tough. It is hard to sit there as an employee and sit there and go, hey, Cap, LT, I'm going to go take a nap for 2 hours. I know it's in the middle of the workday and it's 2 in the afternoon, because to me, that's it. I don't want to sit there and be like, I don't want my lieutenant or captain to think I'm lazy. I don't want them to think I'm slacking. Sure. But when you need the rest, you need the rest. Right. And I think the 24s you do, but you work a 48, you're off 24, work another 24, and maybe pick up some overtime or something, because a lot of overtime we got to pick up slack right now.
Same with walking the floor on an ER.
Yes. Getting your rest is
it's like it catches up to you. It's like you hit zombie mode, and then at some point your brain, it's almost like I get where I'm like just burnt, done. Like my brain shuts down. Like it's it. There is no like you can't stay awake. You can't do. Your brain says I'm done. I'm checked out. And you're done. Like I said, that's like it's a past zombie mode where you're like in automatic. You don't even know what you're doing.
And then you get the second wind.
Yep.
Yeah. Then you're screwed. No more sleep.
And everyone comes from different, young guys, old guys with families, guys got kids in college where, maybe you got to go in there. I got to take my kid to practice. I got to get him to daycare or something. So you still got to function outside of this. But anyways, Doc, thanks for coming on today. We really appreciate it. We like I said, you're busy guys, so thanks for taking the time to come out today and talking. So. All right, thank you. Next year, grow a mustache. We'll get you in the competition, which is what's coming up.
Not just voting, you can get in the contest.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Didn't we get? Didn't Doc? He's an honorary firefighter. Didn't you get honorary firefighter or not? No, I thought he was.
Be a great nomination.
I think it'd be a good nomination.
Be a great nomination.
Second.
There we go.
We can bring that up at a union meeting. So, all right, Doc, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Take care.
Yeah, thanks for all the hard work, and happy Veterans Day. I know a lot of firefighters, both men and women, are our veterans, and
Aaron, the guy behind the keyboard.
Yeah,
so,
Ryan Baker, our
it's a
producer.
good opportunity to kind of reach out here.
Hey, thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone, to the second half. So I was saying, if we had sponsors or advertisements, that'd be a great place
That would have been
to put them in. Yeah. So
do our reads.
when Miles decides to sponsor us one day, that's where it's gonna go in.
Or whoever,
Yeah.
like Wheelhouse,
Yep.
Castle Pub,
Yep.
Bodega.
That's the coffee place
Birdies.
on West Third there. They just remodeled.
Oh, Stone Brew.
Stone Brew. Yeah, we could drink
I
Stone
know,
Brew
I
coffee.
might know a guy down in Stone Brew.
Yeah, they get some.
Hard
We'll
Line's
get
good
some-
downtown. You know,
That'd be a good place for it.
yeah,
Good product
their
placement.
possibilities are endless.
I would like to take a minute though. This it could come from episode 1 to 2. We really put a lot of effort. Like I didn't really do anything. This is I give so shout out to Ryan Baker for doing a ton of work.
Dude.
Shout out to the department, the chief, the for supporting all this.
If I could shout, I would shout.
Yeah.
But shout outs for sure.
Yeah,
To
so
all those guys.
Thanks to those guys, and like
Thanks
we're
for
gonna
the
make it look
listeners,
good, so-
dude.
Yeah, the listeners.
Such good feedback.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to talk about, the feedback. We got a lot of good, a lot of bad, so we're going to keep getting better. So stick with us as we grow.
Yep.
Like I said,
Grow
I'm
with us,
hoping this
right?
is something we're going to be really proud of.
Yep.
So something that I know the department is proud of is the mustache competition. Do anybody know when the mustache competition started?
Well, the original one, I think the original champion is behind the keyboard right now.
The very first mustache champion.
The very first mustache champion is sitting behind.
What
the
year
keyboard
was
right
that?
now. That was, I'm not sure what year that kind of came in. 2006, 16, 11.
15
7.
guys, 15.
11.
15.
I would have
He's
screamed
got a
it.
thumb. He's holding up
That's
thumb.
a thumb.
So
Ryan
Ryan
was doing
is
this. For people,
Oh,
he was
he
doing
was
this.
doing a 1 and a 5. That's okay.
Okay.
6.
That's it. Yeah,
not
that's
6.
why I got 6. Okay, so
I still don't
2015.
know.
So
Either way,
2015
yeah.
was the original
Wow.
contest.
Yeah.
Who I
So
work
2015 it came, and when the contest started, right? It was when Baker won. It was all about the mustaches.
Yes.
Because when we started, it was the secretaries judged it.
Yep.
And it was the mustache.
It was like a mug shot almost.
Yes.
It was so bad. It was like those old guys on like the dating sites that are taking selfies. Just
It was like if my dad made a new Facebook profile picture. It was just like
fishing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it has morphed into what it is now.
Exactly. So it started out with that. Just a basic photo,
Yep.
and then people, to get an edge on people, got creative, right?
Yes.
So instead of just a mug shot of this mustache I'm growing,
Yep.
they got creative with it.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, I'll give credit. Josh McClure did start the first competition. Was that correct? Yeah. So shout out to
checks.
McClure. Ran it for a number of years. It was through the union,
Yep.
and then it grew. And now our guest today is Derek DeWitt. Big fan of his mustache. He's a mustache connoisseur. Should we go bring him on?
Bring him.
Let's bring on
Let's
Derek
bring on
DeWitt.
Derek DeWitt.
Welcome to the show. As he carries two
Oh,
belts.
baby.
Get those on the
Look at
camera.
that,
Get those
man.
on the camera.
Yeah,
Make sure.
get an action
You
shot
got
in there.
2 WWE belts
Yeah, dude.
for the mustache competition. That's how ridiculous this thing has gotten.
Yeah.
It went from photos. Derek, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me on.
You got your mustache looking great. You got your hair slicked over. You got your
Dapper.
button up on.
Dapper DeWitt, man.
Derek, you and
Look at
I
this guy.
spent a little bit of our first year together, and I remember when you came back from your deployments, you had a mustache. Go ahead and scoot up a little closer. Get you on. You before you left, you did not have a mustache. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then when you returned, you had a mustache. So what year was that? 2017?
18.
So this mustache is how old?
Quick math there, about 5 years.
Okay.
Nice.
And when did I remember you came back? You pulled out a pocket knife that turned into a comb, and you would comb your mustache at the kitchen. You got it with you?
I don't have that one, but
You got to have
got
something.
a mustache.
Multiple,
Yeah.
man.
I,
That's crazy.
I upgraded.
Oh, the duty comb.
There it is.
And then,
Oh,
oh
wow.
my gosh. So when did you commit? I'm gonna be a mustache man. I'm gonna make this my life.
Probably during the deployment, I just grew it out, and I was like, it's kind of nice to have.
Yeah.
It kind of started as just something to do with our free time and take care of it, and sort of went with that, and then I just decided to keep it. It's kind of a part of me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do to treat your mustache? Give us your care product routine.
I got some oil that I use pretty regularly.
Mhm.
Keeps it nice and soft, and then I didn't put any wax in it today, but usually if I'm doing something where it's got to look nice, I'll put some wax in it.
Awesome. So you grow your mustache on deployment, which was back up a little bit. How long you been with Sioux City Fire Rescue?
About 5 years.
5 years. When did you know? You always know this is the career field you want to get into?
Yeah, kind of got interested in high school.
Okay.
From Mobile, started on a volunteer department.
Yep.
Tested around, got hired on another career department, and then got fortunate enough to get hired here.
Yeah, you were in Fort Dodge for a bit.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, so was Devin. Did you guys ever work together for a bit? Out there?
We like barely crossed over. I think I was getting hired here as he was getting on there.
Awesome. So you worked at Fort Dodge, and then you've been a crash fire rescue nerd at the 185th. How long you been down there?
About 10 years.
10 years. Staying in?
About halfway, so, halfway to retirement, so now you're pretty much committed.
Yeah, it's the darndest system down there. But when did you go in the Air Force?
It was in 2013.
Okay,
so
right out of high school?
No, I went to college for a couple years first, and then joined. I wasn't getting anywhere testing on trying to get a career on a career department, and kind of use that as a way to better myself.
Yeah, are you 40 or 30? I don't know.
Man, jeez.
Sorry.
31.
31. Okay,
I know this. 15-year-old.
Hey, that's awesome. So, love the fire service, and you love mustaches, which those two go hand in hand. What year did you take over the competition?
I think this is my 4th year running it. Kind of got voluntold by McClure, who you talked about earlier, that I was going to take it over. So.
And you've taken it and ran, man.
Yeah. Every year this thing exponentially grows.
Yeah, I just try to come up with some ways to make it funner for everybody. So.
Sure.
Yeah. So was 2 years ago was the first belt.
Yeah.
And Devin Shipper won with his Hulkamania.
It was a good year.
Hulk Hogan. That was in the slideshow.
No,
which one was that?
Actually, Joni loves Chachi.
Dodgeball.
Dodgeball, baby.
Dodgeball.
Yeah,
That was a good one.
White Goodman won.
Yeah. White Goodman.
And then who won the next year?
Then I won.
Then you won.
Yeah. Let's back up a little bit. I didn't even compete the first year to make everything fair. Nobody could say that I had it rigged.
What do you say to the people that had a belt, and then you kind of realize that you're like, hey, we got people that always have a mustache. You got people that grow them year out. So you have what would you call it?
So I came up with the 2 different groups. The one for the people that just grow it during that time is the Pretenders division.
Okay.
And then the people that have them all the time or get a little head start is the Legends division.
Okay. So now we were in 2 separate divisions. So you kind of win 2 ways.
Yes.
And if you win, are you automatically put in the Legends?
I never threw that out as a rule. I was just trying to go off of whether or not they started early or if they had it before. So, I mean, each year could be different for somebody.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. All right. So we got a few rapid fire questions for you, Derek. You got the belts. Did you watch WWE as a kid?
I did watch it a little bit, yes.
Who was your favorite wrestler?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Respectable. Yeah.
Awesome.
So with that, Stone Cold, I get it. But so, of course, inspiration for the belts then?
Yeah, I was trying to find something that we could pass on every year. I purchased the belts myself for the competition, and I wanted to have something for the winners, and this is something that's just easy to pass on. And I kind of just Google search stuff, and that ended up popping up. And
it's a good land.
Yeah.
And they are cool looking. I mean, they're really, really cool.
Yeah, because you won. You said you won last year. Then Joel won last year as well, right?
Yes,
Joel's the Pretenders division champion.
The leading champion.
Yeah.
And that's all they get. They get the belt, right?
I guess you could call him the Intercontinental champion, right? Because he's the Pretenders champion.
And you get to hold the belt for a year.
Yeah,
hold it.
That's great. You can flash it any time. Just be like, remember.
Yeah.
Put it on a shelf at home, whatever you want to do.
Above the mantle. The old lady loves that. Put it as a nice piece above the
mantle. Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
So, what do you got to do to get in the competition?
So the Pretenders division was $20, and the Legends division is $25.
Okay.
Cool.
And then where does money go?
That goes to support Siouxland soldiers. They use it in their holiday care packages that they send to the troops and the troops of people from Sioux City that are deployed, and the families get to just show up basically, and they have all kinds of stuff they can put into it. It's all free for them, and then they pay for the shipping for it to be shipped off.
So awesome.
A really cool deal.
And you've had it happened to you, right, when you're on deployment.
Yeah,
Can you talk about like
I received,
how was that?
Yeah, I received one of the packages, and it was full of, like, candy and a lot of stuff that you can't get while you're over there.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of around the holidays. It was towards the beginning when I got there, but they have different events throughout the year, and it was pretty exciting, a big morale booster to just get something from back home.
Especially when you get something, like, say, you get something, you're like, man, I can't touch this. Yeah, where you're at. Because you have 2 tours, right?
Yes.
Where were they 2?
My first one was in Nigeria, Africa, and then my second one was by Doha, Qatar.
Okay, so 2 different ones. If I remember right, deployment 1 was like...
Yeah, those are different parts of the
world. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But deployment 1 was like middle of nowhere tents.
Correct.
Building a runway.
Yeah, so that was like almost like a forward operating base. There was very little there. We basically relied on mail that would come like every once in a while. That was how we got everything, or we had to bring it there. My second one, when I was in Qatar, it was a base that's been there for a long time. It's well built up. You could almost get anything you wanted while you were there. So definitely a change in pace, but also with the base being built up more, there's a lot more responsibilities that we had to fulfill too. So
perfect. Devin's got one last question.
I just got to know, do you have an all-time mustache role model? Like, I know it's hard, but one that just...
Tom Selleck?
Yeah.
Tom Selleck, a push broom.
I can see that.
Yeah.
You got a push broom.
Yeah, you do. It's a nice shape, dude.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
It is. Yeah. If I was gonna rate mustaches, I mean,
that's a good shape.
Is that a preview into what?
No, I'm not going to give out any hints on what my picture is going to be this year, but I did start planning about a year ago for it. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got
it takes a lot of commitment to be a back-to-back.
It's a good idea. Because Tom
yeah,
Selleck,
a lot of pressure. Because have we had a back-to-back champion?
Not while I've ran
I think
it.
so.
No.
Any multiple champions? Devin, you won once. Is that it?
That's it.
So
Yeah.
because I thought your Hulk Hogan didn't win. Hulk didn't win.
Surprisingly, he won.
He won that year.
Yeah, stole it right from under me,
yep.
just by a few hundred
Just
votes
a
or
few.
whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So DeWitt aiming to be first two-time champion.
Because Tom Selleck, you could do like the Hawaiian shirt, with just the hairy chest. You could do blue bloods. A lot of work there with Tom. That's one to bang. If I could grow a mustache,
A lot to work with. Yeah.
I promise I can't grow a mustache.
So everybody should join that group so they can.
Yeah, tell us about that.
How do we do that?
Tell us about the contest.
Just did you have that pulled up earlier? I couldn't see the TV, so but it's like SCFR Mustache Challenge, but the Mustache Challenge is spelled differently, so you got to really search for it. Once you become a member of the group, then you could vote on the poll that we put out, and then each like equals a point. Basically, whoever has the most at the end of it is then the winner.
And we'll try to post a link to that in the YouTube description for this video,
Yes.
on the Spotify, all that. And also we'll put that link out if you follow us on Twitter, the Sioux City Fire on Twitter and Facebook, and we'll post the links to those on there as well so people can get to
So
it
it's a
easier.
private group. You got to join the group, be accepted, and then you're in for life. It's part of your life.
It takes
now.
a little bit to be accepted, so give it a little time for everything to kick through, and then everybody will be able to.
When's
vote.
the voting start?
So everything's got to be in by the 18th. It'll open up that night and it'll run until the 21st, which is on a Monday at 08
through the weekend.
So Monday morning 08, you cut it off right there.
That's the cutoff. We'll get on there and see all the votes. If the votes come in after that, they don't count.
Guys, thanks for tuning in to episode 2. This is our last episode. We are officially going to be, I'm sure, cancel or cut off something. No.
What a way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, thanks.
No, it's great, guys. Mustaches. What else we got here?
I mean, that's
yeah.
part of the fire service history in general.
Yeah.
We didn't really talk
Well,
about that earlier,
and not so much the mustaches, beards, everything. Back in the day when, back in the day pre-SCBA, we're talking bucket brigades. But that's how they all grew beards because that's how they protected their faces. Dunked their beards in a bucket of water, wrap it around their face so they wouldn't, if they're breathing smoke and stuff, so they could actually fight fire. So I mean, the facial hair in the fire service has been a thing that's been around.
It's got a little history and tradition to it.
You look at the old timers with some of these guys with some pretty salty stashes and stuff, and it's a thing.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah,
we got some good pictures down at Threes of guys that you're like, was that guy? That guy had to have been in the Civil War.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Some of the when you look at the Civil War, like the really old, which some of you actually, if you look at the data, some of the department pictures, I mean, some of those guys literally would have came back from war. And then
I'm gonna be a fireman.
Been at one point, if I'm correct here, in our history, like early fire department, it was almost like a halfway prison, Like,
You know what?
Like-
They literally lived.
No,
They literally lived at
Yeah.
the station. You got
Yeah.
so many hours off, like per week, or like you got to go home for dinner and you came
Yeah.
back. We
it
have.
was like a work release
So
program.
if you
though.
come down to Forest in the atrium, I mean,
Yeah.
we have one of the logbooks, like the daily
Yeah.
logbooks, like we still keep now,
Mhm.
and it even talks in there about exercising and feeding the horses, and like so and so went home for their dinner break and came back and stuff. And I mean, this book is like 100 years old.
And
I
there's
mean,
a
it is
couple pictures
really,
of
really
some burly
cool.
boys
Yeah.
like Derek and Devin here.
Yeah.
With the stashes, just
I'm excited. Like I said, while you were talking, for those that are just listening, I would encourage you to go and watch the YouTube stream of this, because we did have all the mustaches in years past on about a 3-minute video. It was playing as we were talking. Worth checking out. A lot of good
for
photos
sure.
in there, and then new photos will be out this weekend. So keep an eye on that. For those, vote, and that'll be our 2022 Movember mustache competition.
Yeah.
Derek, I would like to invite you to stay on. We got one last segment before we're done. This is the top 10 list. Tell me you work at a firehouse without telling me you work at a firehouse. We want to get your take on some of these. So feel
New
free
segment.
to hang
New
on.
segment for before the tones drop. We're gonna start. Maybe not all the time, but we're gonna we're gonna drop a top 10 list. And we're gonna today. Tell me you work at a firehouse without telling me you work at a firehouse. You can already think of the things, right? Because nationwide, some of these things, it doesn't matter what firehouse you work in, not just Sioux City, like anywhere, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's totally the thing.
It was San Diego,
Okay.
California.
Yep.
This is-
Number 10. Top 10 things. Tell me you work in a firehouse without working in a firehouse. Jeopardy / or Wheel of Fortune is on during dinner all the time. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
should be.
Right?
6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Six o'clock's the dinner bell. They play the tones.
Yep.
And that's those are usually the two programs. Sometimes the news trumps Jeopardy.
Yeah. But because Jeopardy's on a different time now than it used to.
Jeopardy's at 6, and then
Yep.
6:30 is Wheel of Fortune.
Yep.
Wheel of
Jeopardy and
Fortune
the
is
Wheel.
almost always
Yep.
watched though.
That's always on. Jeopardy and the Wheel.
Everyone asks.
And then maybe a follow up of Entertainment Tonight because we're so full we can't
Yeah,
change it.
no one
We
wants
can't
to
even
change the channel. It takes about 15
like,
minutes for you. Like, what
yeah.
are we watching?
Wonder what the Kardashians are doing today.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Our modern,
I can't change
pop culture knowledge is probably pretty high from people not wanting to change the channel. Every time you watch Wheel of Fortune, at least once a week, someone asks how old Vanna White is.
Yeah.
That's
You
that,
gotta Google it. You gotta Google all the time. All right.
like 70. She looks good for 70.
Moving on.
Number 9. Tell me the things you work at a firehouse. Box of random chargers, remotes, etc. No one knows what they're for because they've been around for so long, or where they go. But you keep them around
Yeah,
just in case.
we
Yeah.
You might have to use it sometime.
the original iPads from the rigs are long gone, but that charger's still in there just in
never
case
know.
we bring them back.
Just in
never know.
case. Just in case. Random
Just
stuff.
in case.
Hazmat, dude, like that is the dumping ground for random old stuff.
It's
all
probably
the time.
Yeah.
hazmats.
Well, if
Yeah,
you ever
it's a good
if you ever
just
go to
throw
a
it
different station, trade overtime floating,
Yeah.
and you forget a phone charger,
Oh,
you
yeah.
go through that, and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
you're building your own charger for whatever device you have.
All right, number 8. Tell me you work at a firehouse. Random leftovers covered in foil. Don't get a
Does
lid,
this look
just
good?
cover it in foil.
Yeah, does this look good?
Yeah, I don't know.
No
Just cover it in
name.
foil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Plates,
this is
plates in the fridge, which is
this is
foil.
'cause-
Or things like it's not saran wrap, it's not Ziplocs, it's foil.
yeah. You didn't want to put it in mainly because you didn't want to watch. You didn't want to wash the dish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which number 7.
Don't even get
Tell
me
me work at firehouse. Same coffee 12 hours later. Got made in the morning. 12 hours later, guaranteed to be drank it by that guy.
Yeah. Hey, who's
Don't
gonna
be-
drink? No,
Hey,
cup.
don't
I
dump
will.
that.
Yeah,
Don't turn
dump
that
it.
off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That guy.
and he
Somebody will
runs all
drink
day.
it.
Don't-
Usually, sometimes I'm that guy.
Don't touch
Usually
it.
I'm that guy. Number 6. No assigned seats at the kitchen table, but that's where I sit. You can't
Yeah,
sit there.
can't sit there.
Yeah.
I love when
I
we
might
get
have
when you get
might have disobeyed that unwritten rule yesterday.
when you get students.
But,
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
like you have some student from like WIT or EMT right along, and they're like, oh, hey, you could sit there. And they're like, really? And then they sit there, and it's the chief spot or
Yeah.
something.
yeah.
And then-
By the way,
poor guy's probably trying to get
we were
hired.
talking about Kenny earlier.
Yeah,
Drew Walters.
yeah.
Yeah, he pulled that one on me with the assistant chief down at Ones when I worked
Oh,
OT.
brilliant.
So
yeah.
I'd just like to say,
Yep.
you got it coming back to you, brother.
You got to come at 10-4.
Yeah.
I love Drew.
Number 5, second shift. It's always second shift.
It's always second shift. We have
Yeah.
second shifters. Derek, you're second
Yeah, I'm
shift.
on second shift.
Way to
always
go,
you
dude.
guys.
It's always second shift.
Yeah.
And if you're on second shift, it's always first or
That's
third.
for somebody at that other. Number 4, the fireman fix. Or we fix it instead of replacing it. I refer to the baker lid. If it's just a simple example of 4s. One of the pots or pans, one of the lids, the top came off it. So let's not get a new lid. Let's just take a wood wedge and screw it onto the top of it.
Yep.
Make a new handle on it.
Makes
Good to
sense.
go.
But when we tape things together, duct tape, glue, whatever, we fix something, zip ties. Let's not get a new one or replace it.
Nope.
We can fix this. We can still use it.
I can
Still,
fix
right?
it.
The fireman
Yeah.
fix for everything. Number 3, random Tupperware mostly donated.
Yep.
In the Tupperware cabinet. Also, more lids, either more lids and bases or more bases.
Yeah, no firehouse
totally
ever
random.
bought Tupperware.
No.
It all just shows up.
It's
I've heard it called the Wheel of Destiny. It's the Lazy
Wicked.
Susan, and it's all right. You open it up, and it's Narnia in there.
Yeah.
You never know what you're gonna
Narnia.
get.
Sometimes I think people booby trap the cabinet too.
Yeah.
Where it just all
You
pours
open it,
down on you.
40. You got 40
And
Tupperware things
You
flying
can't
out.
find the lid.
Yeah. Order pizza.
Number 2,
Go
probably
this way.
one of the most prevalent. But tell me, you work at a firehouse. Everyone is backed into their parking spot.
Got it back
You
in.
got to tear out of there in the morning.
Yep.
You're ready to get out.
If
of
you
there.
don't like, you could tell the new people because they pull
Or
in the
guests.
parking lot, or guests
Yeah.
because they're pulled in
Definitely.
straight.
I mean, no. Is that a tradition? Because we back in the rigs. I don't. Is that just
Easy out, man.
Yeah.
It's just a thing.
got it back in?
Yeah. And then the number one thing, tell me you work at a firehouse without telling me you work at a firehouse, you will find the smallest piece of pie,
The
a
fireman's
cake,
cut.
cookie, brownie, or anything else. Yeah, the fireman's cut. The smallest will get, and I don't care how small it is, it will still get cut in half, just so you don't have to wash
You don't have
that
to wash
plate
the pan.
or the knife.
You're doing
or anything.
a
even if
courteous
it's
thing.
a throwaway thing that it's on.
Yeah.
You will find the
You
smallest.
don't want to take the last piece. Don't be
Even
that
if it's
guy.
the smallest,
No.
it'll still get cut in half until somebody like bites a bullet. But
And I gotta give a shout out to Dusty Johnson. He does, I would call it the Dusty cut,
Yeah.
and it's where you get like a fresh thing of brownies or cake, and he cuts a piece out of the middle, out of an awkward angle.
Yeah.
It looks to just mess this cake up, and that's the first piece you'll take.
And for some reason, all of us failed geometry, but we can cut a cake into 11 pieces somehow.
Absolutely.
Or like an odd
Symmetrical.
number.
an even
Yeah.
amount.
And then you got to scoop up the biggest piece and give it to the person that's not that hungry. Get a big one.
Right,
So.
yeah. Just got to give it to them.
Well, guys, we've gone long enough. No one wants to hear us talk anymore. Episode 2, I thought it was a lot of fun. Got some good stuff in here. We hope you guys like it. Don't forget to subscribe and all that good stuff. Other than that, Ryan, you want to drop the tones?
I think I can talk better as Randy Savage. Oh, yeah.
The crow. Yeah.
Listen
here, brother. Yeah.
I hate your guts, Hulk
Did Bennett has Ben ever told you like the time we blew his mind? Baker and I blew his mind with the greatest
Yeah, I
greatest
was
match in the history of the WWF.
Okay.
Such
I'm
WWE,
in
the
on
greatest
this.
match.
I'm in
yeah.
on this.
So what would you say if you were going to pick one? What would you say is the best one? Best one ever.
I like Hell in the Cell.
That's good. Thank you. Yeah. Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mankind.
So-
Undertaker.
so with that-
Undertaker.
with
Yep.
not able to watch WWE as a kid.
No.
It just wasn't a thing. It wasn't in our
Yeah.
house. So
Yeah.
I these guys blew my mind one day.
Yeah. Just
At
blew
Station
it.
4,
Just
we watched Hell in the Cell.
Oh, hold on.
God is my witness.
That Bailey, that's a good guy.
Yeah,
Got a cup of coffee.
It's good coffee.